We back, y'all. Max to the boogie. Max backs to the boogie. Hey, Cynthia. We back. Yes, indeed. Y'all already know. I didn't go get my nails done. Dang it. I'm gonna get them done this week, though. This is too good. I can't let it go. The wizard. The grand wizard showed up, baby. Ah, what? They ain't know what to do. He forgot he used to have a duty. He said, shit, I done got too old to be acting like I don't have a sheet. A sheet in the closet. He got a sheet in the closet. Is it playing? Why is it not moving? Oh, Lord, hold on.
And you have different...
Because they definitely back. He is a closet sheet holder.
So what? No, they can't. And you have zero information about what Mr. Justin Smith saw or appreciated during that interaction. Is that right? That's true. In just a second of time, you really have no information regarding what any officer out there on the scene other than Emmett Martin saw.
Oh, cause see, that's who
and
he.
You are familiar with the fact that
somebody
pepper spray or OC spray
recommended him
by one of the officers
for Haley
Mills at least 3 times during that brief arrest. That's correct. And you can see on the video Martin bailing out because he had OC spray. Is that right? Yes, sir. And you see Mills bail out and is gone for over 1.5 minutes, and he's the one who shot the pepper spray. Is that right? That's correct.
See how accurate he is?
But Mr. Smith and Mr. Bean are still the defense attorneys trying to get Mr.
But when it's Hageman,
right? They are. Did you see Mr. Smith or Mr. Bean take a break? No, sir, I did.
It ain't that easy.
Since you've been in policing for so long, what does OC stand for?
Ole and Capson.
Say it again.
Ole and Capson.
Right. And you have different percentage used by
civilians.
And the 5% is used by
law enforcement officers.
Oh my.
So I can't go out and get 5% OC, can I?
Normally no.
Oh Lord.
I cannot. It's illegal for me to have it if I'm not a cop, right?
Correct.
And is that in reference to how powerful that OC spray is?
Yes, sir.
And that night, you looked at the use of force reports, you looked at the different things. Mr. Mills had 5% OC spray, is that right?
Yes.
And you're not supposed to shoot an OC shot to a suspect for longer than what? One burst?
One burst, yes.
Right.
It should be automatic
one burst on the
dispense.
suspect incapacitates the normal suspect. Is that right?
Normally it does.
If OC spray does not incapacitate a suspect, what does that tell you based upon your, 50 some odd years in law enforcement?
That the suspect's not susceptible to pepper spray, or the suspect may be under the influence of some narcotic.
But you're not a specialist.
Next question.
And the other time he said he's not a specialist.
Do responding officers rely on other officers within their department?
He don't know. How he gonna speak on somebody lying? Hold on, y'all.
When your roof suffers from
How
storm
he
damage,
gonna be
you can
able
feel
to
overwhelmed.
answer somebody
At Precision Roofing,
lying
your insurance
habits?
claim specialist.
Saying, is it within the industry of law enforcement that I can rely upon you, even though I don't know you, to use only necessary force to effectuate an arrest?
Yes, it is.
And the force that we saw from Emmett Martin was, I think you said what? Was it unnecessary or what?
It was unnecessary.
And is that the same as excessive?
It can be, yes.
So it's not this. I just asked you, is unnecessary the same as excessive? Is it or is it not?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So if we hear
He said, I just
unnecessary
asked
force,
you.
are you using that word?
They done wore him out in the back.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do you have any reason to believe that any officer out there on the scene could not reasonably rely on the fact that another officer, trained, post-certified, is going to use only necessary force to effectuate an arrest?
That's right. That's what they.
What?
That's correct.
So we don't have to have a team meeting before an arrest and say, now everybody uses necessary force on this one, okay?
He said we don't have to have a team meeting.
No, sir.
Because
They've been back there clowning, y'all.
They would utilize their
They've
training
been back there acting a
and
fool.
only use necessary force. Is that right?
That's correct.
So if Emmett Martin is using unnecessary force while people are blind and can't breathe, do they have a duty to intervene if they can't see it?
If you can't see it, they can't intervene.
Their training said that y'all still supposed to be able to maneuver through it.
Cops and what the cops'
Because if
duties
not,
are when Emmett
the
Martin's doing
suspect
what
can
he's
get
doing,
away.
and Haley's doing what he's doing. Let's talk about Nichols for a moment. Did you see anything in all the videos that you watched? Let me rewind. Mr. Bean over there, he chased Mr. Nichols. Is that right?
That's correct.
You've seen that video of his body cam. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Was there anything keeping Tyre Nichols when Bean had to tackle him? You agree with me? He had to tackle him, right?
Yes, sir.
Bean had no choice but to tackle the suspect, right?
To stop him, yes, sir.
Was there anything keeping Mr. Tyre Nichols from saying, oh, I'm done.
No, there wasn't.
How you know?
Because Mr. Hagerman asked you what was keeping the officers from saying, whoa, I got this, we got this. I want to ask you, was there anything keeping Nichols from saying, hey, I give up?
No, nothing at all.
And instead, what did he do?
He continued to fight and resist the officers.
Yeah, he don't have a handbook.
As an expert,
He don't have a job description. He don't have a manual.
I can't even say it, a crime saturation unit is, don't you?
Is he a
Basically,
former
yes.
criminal?
And a crime saturation unit, as we've heard in this trial, is a unit that goes into high crime neighborhoods,
Yes, sir, it is.
looking for specific types of crimes and the effects of crime. That's what we've been told. Is that what you understand it to be?
That's what I understand.
Not people who
Would it
are
surprise you to know
not
that this
speaking.
unit, per officer, over a 3-year period, per officer, averages over 1,000 felony arrests? Would that surprise you? That's a bunch, isn't it?
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's over 1.5. If you only work 5 days a week, that's about 2 a day, isn't it?
Yep.
Is my math right?
Yes, sir.
Those are felony arrests.
Yes, sir.
Now, would it surprise you that the members of this unit, on every one of those arrests, 80 to 90% of those arrestees have a hidden weapon on them? Would that surprise you?
Not at all.
So is that percentage for felony arrest, is that nationwide or is that just Memphis or what?
No, it's pretty much nationwide.
80 to 90% of the arrestees have a hidden weapon on them.
That's true.
So as Mr. Bean is running down the street and Mr. Smith is getting out of his car to help Bean get him handcuffed, does that mean there's an 80 to 90% chance that that suspect has a hidden weapon?
That's true.
Do you know what blading is?
Pardon me?
I did not get you on the hearing. Do you know what blading is?
Lady. Well,
if I lay on my hip instead of laying on my back or on my belly, is that blading?
basically, yes, sir.
Well, you say basically, but that is blading.
That is blading.
Is blading dangerous if a suspect is blading?
Yes, sir.
In fact, blading can occur when you're laying on the ground like your hip, and blading can occur as I confront you. Isn't that blading?
That's blading also.
All right. So if I'm on the ground and I'm blading with a free hand, does that allow the suspect to get out a weapon?
It certainly does.
And in all videos you saw, did you ever see Nichols lay on his belly or on his back?
He laid on his belly, didn't lay on his belly, nor on his back.
You said he did not?
Did not.
Right. He laid on his hip. He bladed the whole time, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are officers trained in your academies and other academies to watch out for blading?
Certainly, that's why we put them on their stomach.
Do officers who get a radio call, this is a national standard for lack of a better word, do officers who get a radio call requesting assistance with capturing an unsearched fleeing suspect who has been tased and sprayed, do they have the luxury of not responding to that?
No, they better not.
What happens if they do?
They get disciplined.
Okay. Do those officers hearing that call, do they have the luxury of taking their time to get there?
No, they have to expedite.
And expedite means what?
Get there as quickly as they can.
Blue lights and sirens?
Yes, sir.
Breaking the speed laws?
Yes, sir.
Safely going through traffic lights that are marked red?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Heiderman was very precise when he asked you this question, so I want to be just as precise. As he went through each act of Emmett Martin, the punches, remember he went through, that's punch one, then he went to another, punch two, and I think he got 5 punches, is that right?
I believe he did.
He would ask, when they see something like that, do the officers have a duty to intervene? And you answered every time, you answered yes.
Right.
But isn't the key word there in that question Mr. Hagman asked, when they see something like that?
Right. They have. If they see it, they have to intervene. If they don't see it, they can't intervene.
Now, what is tunnel vision?
Tunnel vision is where you focus in on one thing. I may focus in on your waistband. I may focus in on your hands.
In a critical incident, scientists have established what degree of tunnel vision does someone have?
I don't know the exact statistic, but
Does 2 degrees sound right?
about right, yes.
Okay. So, in a critical incident, an officer, not knowing what his safety is or risk is at that time, just treating it as a high-risk arrest, and he has tunnel vision. Is this about 2 degrees?
About.
Okay. Now, if someone wears glasses, like I wear glasses, and you take the glasses off, now what's my vision? Is it less or more?
I think it's a lot less.
If I get shot in the eyes with OC spray, how much do I have?
Almost none.
How dangerous is one handcuff to a wrist?
Very dangerous.
You watched Justin Smith put one handcuff on the left wrist. You even used a photograph of it with Mr. Stengel. Is that right?
That's correct.
That photograph was taken in the sequence of events after the officers had been sprayed with spray. Is that right?
That's correct.
What is auditory exclusion?
Auditory exclusion is you cut down the sound outside because you're focusing on one thing.
It's like tunnel vision for your ears, isn't it?
Exactly.
Scientists have shown that people have gone into shootouts and everything else and not remember any of the shooting or any of the words. said during the shooting. Is that right?
Right, don't even hear the shots.
Right. Until later, until they watch it on video and say, oh yeah, that looks like somebody did say that. That's not unusual, is it?
No, not at all.
Chasing a suspect with an 80 to 90% chance they had a hidden weapon on them down a dark street with OC spray in your face. Would that fall in the category of critical incident where officers have 2 degree or less tunnel vision and no hearing?
It certainly would.
In fact, you actually expect that to happen, don't you?
Yes, you do.
Officers out there on that street, Bear Creek and Castlegate, not like sitting here in this room watching it on TV, is it?
Not at all.
Videos from a body cam or a pole cam or anything else, they don't capture the exhaustion that a cop goes through, does it?
No,
It doesn't capture the fear that a cop is going through, does it?
not at all.
Your Honor, that's all I had.
All right, Mr. Perry. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Cameron, before today, have you ever had any conversation independently with Darius Bean?
No, sir, I have not.
And today you haven't had any conversation with Darius Bean, right?
This the one I don't like. I don't like
Do you
him.
know whether or not Darius
I don't like the last one. I definitely don't like him.
Before that evening.
I have no idea.
But you do know just from your experience in this particular case that one of the officers saw the suspect and he met a description, right?
Yes,
And you saw that that person who saw the suspect that met the description got out of the passenger side of a car. Am I correct?
that's correct.
And when he got out the passenger side of the car, based off of your reading of the information that was provided in this case, he didn't have any idea of whether or not that suspect had a gun, knife, baton, anything on this person, correct?
No, he did not.
Now, based off of your reading in the file and your research in this case and your participation on behalf of Mr. Haley, is it your understanding that that same suspect caused a bolo to go out regarding who he was? Be on the lookout for this particular person.
Correct.
Based off of your research, is it true that that suspect supposedly had overcome 3 men weighing in excess of 250 pounds based on the bolo?
Yes, sir.
Is it true that the person who hears that is expected to get out of a vehicle and travel down 80 yards of a dark street to apprehend this suspect based on what you testified a few moments ago as his job requirement?
It is his job requirement.
And based off of your observation this morning and in review, has Mr., and I'm going to say it, the person who got out of that car is Darius Bean. Is that in any way a violation of what you know is proper procedure, policy, etc.?
No, it's not.
He tackles him. He tackles him. Okay? That's not something that you do with people walking down the street on a regular basis. Right.
Not normally.
Right. So that is a use of force, though. Correct?
Correct.
And at that point, you didn't see anything that was violative of a right or that was inappropriate or excessive. Correct?
No, nothing at all.
Now, you have presented across the country at different occasions, right?
Yes, sir, I have.
And you've discussed yourself in the past the difference between ineffective force and excessive force.
Correct.
And those are 2 terms, and I think that you were giving some terms a few moments ago, but there is a distinct distinction, according to what you said before, between what from a 100-yard away pole cam or 100-foot away pole cam might look as excessive versus what would look as be in fact ineffective.
Exactly.
Can you tell this jury the difference between ineffective and excessive?
Ineffective is when you're not accomplishing what you're trying to accomplish. And in most cases, get the person into custody, get them handcuffed. That's ineffective force.
When you're being asked questions by Mr. Hagerman regarding whether or not if the person comes up and you see them getting soccer kicked or what have you, number one, could you tell whether or not the kick connected to the person?
No, I couldn't.
Could you tell whether or not Mr. Bean, who at that point had 2 different bursts of pepper spray, hit him, according to testimony, whether or not he could see that somebody is either about to kick or where they're about to kick this person?
I don't believe so.
All right. Now, you also said that based on what you were looking at, that the person who we know as Mr. Tyre Nichols was not coming into compliance, was he?
No, he wasn't.
Did it appear that his arms are moving, even from this 100-foot away pole cam? Did it appear that his arms are moving, etc.?
Yes, sir.
Now, does Mr. Bean have the same luxury as somebody who might be on the news looking at it and saying, oh, look, they look like they have him in custody right here? Does Mr. Bean have that luxury if he has OC spray in his eyes and he knows that this person is not handcuffed while he's standing over him, as it's been described? Does he have that same luxury if it's January 7th and it's 43 degrees outside and it's wet outside and he's trying to get this person into compliance, and in fact, he on that scene commands at least 30 times to get his hands? Does he have that same luxury as somebody watching or describing it on the news?
Not at all.
Does Mr. Bean have the luxury to know whether or not this person is running because they might have something stolen in their car? Does he have that luxury?
No. It's an unknown factor.
And so while he's out there and he has this person's hand, does he have the luxury to let it go during this fast sequence of events?
No, not at all. It's his responsibility.
Now, this would be somewhat different than if he sees somebody choking a person, or if he sees somebody doing something to try to strangle him and he's looking from the side and he just says nothing. That's a different sequence, is it not?
It certainly is.
If he's engaged in trying to apprehend this person who refused to give his hand, and for a period of 14 seconds, he's holding one arm, Justice Smith is holding the other arm, and this person has not laid on the ground, has not done anything that he's been told to do, and he's trying to walk in a circle. If Mr. Bean has pepper spray in his eyes, if Mr. Bean has just run a dead sprint to try to catch this person, if Mr. Bean has tried to be overcome by what at least 6 different officers describe as the strongest person they've ever tried to apprehend, does Mr. Bean have the luxury to let him go and have an altercation with another officer who might in fact use either excessive or ineffective force?
No, he can't let go.
Can he let go and say, hey, stop, man. This is not how they taught us in the academy. Can he do that?
No, he certainly can't.
Mr. Bean ain't on the news describing something. Mr. Bean is out there trying to get this person into custody. Mr. Bean is not Mr. Hagerman asking you questions and can get a do-over. Mr. Bean is holding this person. Can he put his life, the life of the suspect, above his and his fellow officers' lives if this man won't do a darn thing that he's being asked to do?
No, he certainly can't.
And you didn't have to ask Mr. Bean a question to determine that, did you? You know that from your 50-plus years in law enforcement.
Correct.
And based on that, and if you had a chance to have those conversations with Mr. Bean, and he indicates that,
we need to approach.
He trying to get it off, ain't he? They mad at Hagerman. Y'all hit the like button. They mad at Hagerman. They're trying to chastise Hagerman on the slick. And you don't have to something to be, and yes, that's him they are trying to chastise Hagerman because he put the wizard, he had him on the ropes. Y'all ain't figured out what's going on. They double teaming on Hagerman, y'all. Wow. I'm watching this live in my polar voice. Just in case y'all didn't know what was going on, they are double teaming prosecuting attorney Hagerman for having the old trainer man on the ropes earlier. Yeah, when he tried to act like they didn't do nothing wrong, didn't want to say it was excessive force. He wanted to use the word unnecessary, you know. Had him on the ropes. had them mad. Yeah. So they was in the back. And that's why the other cat, the chunky Fred Fence, what's his name? On I Love Lucy. And his name, Fred Ethel and Fred Mertz. Fred Mertz came out there talking about it. We didn't have to have a team meeting for us to. Okay, let's get back. They hot.
Based on the factors that we were just discussing.
I told you I ain't like him.
In the eyes, a non-compliant suspect, and the ability to try to get that person's hands into custody or cuffs. Is the person a consistent threat if you do not control that person's arms and you can't put them in handcuffs?
Yes, sir, he is.
And based off of the narrow scope and time and the movements of the suspect and what you have observed, and based on the conditions that we've talked about, those factors being in place, are Mr. Bean, who there's been no testimony that he struck this person in the head, that he kicked this person, or any of those things, would you then, based on those premises, have any sort of issues with Mr. Bean's conduct on that particular scene?
No, it was doing what I was trained to do, get the person into handcuffs.
Yep, him. I can't stand him.
Not gonna hit you with the barrage. You don't have problems with Mr. Bean if he didn't see it, right?
Right, if he didn't see it, he can't take any action.
Exactly. That's really the issue here. Simply put, if Mr. Smith and Mr. Bean saw that first soccer kick to the head, they have a duty to intervene, correct?
Correct.
And if they didn't, that's part of the excessive force, correct?
Correct. It's not excessive force. So they didn't see it.
Judge? If they did see it.
I'm going to object. This is outside the scope of redirect.
Well, he keep adding to what he asked. He wants to keep pushing it.
That took place that evening. I think as far as the questions, they encompass the questions that Mr. Hagerman is asking. So I'll allow those questions.
It's allowed, so stop it.
If Mr. Bean saw
He's not entitled to say what he want to say. Ask for the question.
That's correct.
because that force, Martin's first kick, soccer kick, was excessive, correct?
Correct.
If Mr. Bean saw that second kick to the head, which again was excessive, then he has a duty to intervene, correct?
Yes, he did.
If he saw those haymakers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, each one in between, if he saw those, he has a duty to intervene, correct?
That's correct.
And the same with Mr. Smith.
Correct.
So it's really a question of if they saw it or not, right?
That's correct.
I think we agree on that.
I think we do.
Either misheard you or you misspoke. Because you made a statement when Mr. Perry was asking questions that you couldn't tell if Tyre was getting kicked or not.
I couldn't tell where he was being kicked.
Okay, but you could tell that the kicks were making contact with him, correct?
It appeared that they were. Just from his body language.
And so I'm wondering here where we're coming from, because you could so clearly tell for us that Mr. Haley kicked him in a certain spot.
Right.
Correct?
Correct.
And could you equally clearly see Martin kick him in the head?
I could see him kicking him, and it was towards his head.
Well, I think that's probably good enough to be unnecessary and excessive, right?
It certainly is.
Woo, he didn't want to say that, y'all.
That's all.
That's why they had to have them powwows. Because he did not want to say that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Get your old she-word. Hey. Woo! The wizard. Baby. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. I'm up in here.
Yes, Your Honor. Jared O'Brien.
Hitting it like, get him.
Do you suffer
Kick
from
them.
FOMO? Fear of missing out on your favorite
Big money,
sporting event
no
when you're away
cash
from
apps.
home?
Oh, well, yesterday. I'm talking about today. Yeah, they ain't hitting the like button. And it done got good up in here.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, sir.
They should have hit the wizard with perjury.
With Your Honor's permission,
Hopscotch face.
could you please state your full name, first and last, and spell it for the court reporter, please?
Big money.
Garrett O'Brien, GARRETTOBRIEN.
What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a police officer.
Have you been a Memphis, at one point, were you a Memphis police officer?
I was.
You are currently a police officer in one of the suburban towns here in Shelby County, is that right?
Yes.
How long were you a Memphis police officer?
For just over 10 years.
And when did you first become a Memphis police officer?
I graduated from Police Academy in November of 2012.
And so that, I'm doing the math, that puts you up to about 2022,
Yes, sir.
and then you transfer to another department. Now, during that period of time from 2012 to 2022, did you have occasion to know Mr. Justin Smith?
I did.
And you see Justin Smith here in the courtroom, is that right?
I do.
And in what capacity did you know Justin Smith?
I had executed a search warrant on a property.
Well, we have to bring it
505
through.
people in here. Hit the like
Did you work with
button.
him at the Memphis Police
Tap
Department?
the screen
Yes.
on your
So
on
Justin
your
Smith
phone.
worked for what division of the Memphis Police Department?
The Scorpion team,
Which is part of?
the organized crime unit.
That's right. And were you also a member of the OCU?
I was.
Okay. So as part of your role at the OCU,
Y'all gonna make
you
me
were
stop
executing
it
search
in
warrant.
mi-
Is that
right in the
first
middle?
time you met Justin Smith?
Yes.
Okay. And since that time, and we may get into that, okay? But since that time, did you make yourself familiar with Justin, become friends with Justin?
Since that time, we had worked.
Since that event?
Yes, we had spoken several times since that event.
Okay. And so did you work, and within OCU, did you have knowledge of his reputation within OCU?
Yes.
And what was that reputation within OCU or the Memphis Police Department?
He was a stand-up guy. Every conversation I ever had with him, any cases that I would work, I was a daytime team, was an auto theft investigator. Any case that I needed work in the evening, I had multiple conversations with him stating, hey, this is the report number. So this isn't just on the fly, on the wall, somebody might have said something. This is a legitimate case. These are the individuals I'm looking for. This is the car, the tag. This is the area that it might be in. If you happen to be in that area, can you please look for this vehicle? If you happen to look for it, do a continuation to that report. Here's my personal number. Reach out to me if you ever happen to get anything.
Okay. You may have misunderstood my question, or I may have said it wrong. What was Justin Smith's reputation within the Memphis Police Department, or OCU? I haven't asked you about your impressions of him yet. Okay? What was his reputation within
He
the
don't
Memphis Police
practice
Department?
that. He don't practice that, y'all.
Was he a notch above or way above other officers?
From my recollection, yes.
And that was his reputation?
Yes.
In your opinion of Justin as a person, what was it?
It was a good opinion, good impression. And like I said, every time I had a conversation with him, it was very attentive. It wasn't just somebody that was just there to be there. He had a emotional investment in everything that I had to say to him.
I don't want to lead you, okay? But was he professional?
Yes.
Was he any other qualities that you might be able to share with the jury about Justin Smith?
He cared.
Cared about what?
He absolutely cared about the citizens and the people that we were looking for to bring those persons to the appropriate justice that the court would see fit.
All right, now go to the search warrant that you wanted to jump right off into and got here. So you did have an occasion to work a search warrant, hit a house on a search warrant. Did you ask Justin and others to assist you in hitting that house and get that search warrant served?
Yes, so I wrote the search warrant in the wee hours of the night after I received information of a stolen car that came from another state. I wrote the search warrant, had the search warrant signed by a judge, and then the on-duty team, which would have been the Scorpion team, came out to assist me. We knew the house to be unoccupied. It was an apartment complex. We knew it to be unoccupied. Once we made entry into the house, to the apartment, we then began the search. During that search, $5,000 was found, roughly $5,000. Justin, who had been reading the warrant,
while the search was being done, come to me and said, hey, you can't take this money. The search warrant is not, this cash is not in the search warrant. You cannot take this money.
You're the one who wrote the search warrant. You're the one who had a judge sign the search warrant. You were about to take $5,000 cash, and Justin, who really was just there to support you, pointed that out to you. Is that right?
Correct.
What would have happened to you if you'd have walked out of that apartment with that $5,000?
I probably would have had some legal headaches. God forbid somebody would try to say that I stole $5,000.
And that was not Justin's case, was it?
He had no say in the matter. He got nothing from me taking the money or nothing from me leaving the money.
Your Honor, I don't have this witness.
All right. Mr. Barry, Mr. Samuel, nothing to run the state.
No questions, Judge.
All right, sir, those are all the questions we have for you, sir. You can step in.
Thanks.
Thanks, sir. All right, that's your next witness.
Ryan Nemec.
Nemec.
Nemec, apparently. Maybe over room 503. Yeah, we've been waiting all day. So maybe over 503.
Yeah, this is too much. And it's good. Ooh, this tea is hot, ain't it? Hey, Vicky. Ooh, baby, this tea is good. The wizard showed up and showed out. Showed up and showed out. They had to have a powwow.
So you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
I do.
All right, please have a seat.
Could you please state your first and last name?
Brian Nemec, Nemec.
All right. Mr. Nemec, up until recently, where were you employed?
Memphis Police Department.
How long were you employed with the Memphis Police Department?
A little over 32 years.
When you retired, could you give the jury the benefit of what your job was at the time of your, or around the time of your retirement?
The last 18 years of my career, I retired in April of this year. I was with the organized crime unit. I did different tasks over there as a supervisor, lieutenant.
Right. So let's go through the branches, if you will, of organized crime that you were involved with for 18 years.
I was a supervisor over a night shift drug team. I've been a supervisor over the day shift drug team. I've been a supervisor over the DEA task force officers. Interstate interdiction, I've done the K9s, a supervisor over K9 handling, and over the meth team that did meth labs.
And OCU has many branches and tentacles, is that right?
Correct.
Part of that is something called the CAT team.
Correct.
Then CJ Davis came, they turned it into the Scorpion team.
Correct.
Do you know, during your tenure of 18 years at OCU, did you have the occasion to have Justin Smith work for you?
I did.
When did Justin Smith first come to work for you?
It was in the early part of 2020.
So at that time, you had how many years experience in OCU and all those areas?
Roughly about 13.
So he came to work with you. You were a 13-year veteran of OCU, is that right?
Correct.
What was your impressions of Justin when he first came to work for you?
Hey, Brian.
He was new over there, and we were just starting up what was going to be called Cat 2, which was, we already had a Cat 1, so we were building that up. It was going to be like a 12-man team.
CAT stands for what?
Criminal Apprehension Team.
And what was y'all's mission?
Basically, we use statistical data, looking for hot spots in the city, and then we would go out and address those hot spots.
And you described as hot spots. Is that high crime areas?
Yes.
High violent crimes?
Yes.
Car thefts?
Correct.
Carjackings?
Correct.
Stolen guns?
Yes.
Automatic weapons?
Yes.
And so this criminal apprehension team was being formed up, and you were going to be in charge of it?
Correct.
And Justice Smith was one of your officers wanting to be on your team, or you wanting him to be on your team?
He was assigned over there, and I was a supervisor that was starting it up. I was mainly a drug supervisor, but they had moved me over there temporarily to get the cat team.
All right. And so now, based on that background, what was your impression of Justin as it relates to being able to do that job?
He came in, and one part of it, when somebody comes over there temporarily, is to evaluate them and see, are they going to make it over here? It's not for everybody. I've had to cut a lot of people that just didn't make it, and I saw a lot of qualities in him, and you know, there's 12 people assigned to me, and I saw qualities in him that I liked.
What qualities?
He was a hard worker. I liked the way he could write. You know, he kind of fit the bill of what we do. He could go in and do the job. He was I call him a motivator. He motivated other officers, and that's an important thing for us to keep these guys motivated. He was courteous, and he was very respectful to everybody and to his coworkers.
Okay. And that's what I was going to ask you. He was courteous and respectful to his coworkers. What about to members of the public?
Yes.
Did you personally observe that?
Yes.
Was that part of your evaluation to determine if he's going to fit in within the criminal apprehension team and work for you?
Yes.
And have you ever known him to be discourteous or anything negative when it comes to interacting with the public?
No.
And by interacting with the public, I'm talking about people that are armed felons. Have you ever seen him treat armed felons with any lack of respect?
No.
Would you describe him as compassionate?
Yes.
I'll give him that. He the only one that
I've never seen
after beating him up and kicking him and said he needed assistance
on the job. We did a lot of, you know, afterwards when something big event happens, we may call back the next day. We call it debriefing.
And then
we may debrief that night or the next day,
right.
and it's kind of a
paramedics for you.
Talk about a bad situation is kind of a way that we can discuss what's the goods and the bads, and a lot of, you know, there may be two officers that didn't like the way something happened, and they would, you know, sometimes people get in arguments about it, and we should have done this, we should have done that. I've never had that, never saw that come out of Justin getting angry.
See, you being a police officer dealing with these type of interactions with people that I don't see, okay? You deal with members of the public that Martin Zumach's never going to meet.
Yes.
Okay, so when you describe it as a big event, we don't know what a big event is. We think the circus is a big event. So what's a big event in the criminal apprehension team world?
It might be where you have a suspect bail out of a car, you have a lengthy foot chase, and there may be a lot of moving parts. There may be an officer getting injured, and there may be, or you may be hitting a search warrant or something, and some kind of something happened inside the house that a particular team member saw it, and it should have been handled differently. Safety-wise, you know, there's a lot of safety. We talk a lot about safety in our job and everything. So we call those kind of big events when something out of the
Michael McDonald.
We call that a big event.
Was Acosta a big event?
Acosta? Yeah. Yes.
Briefly, what was Acosta? Was he an undercover?
He was.
On this team? Or on this part of OCU?
He was on the drug team, yes.
And was he, what?
Just driving down the street and got shot.
Purposely or accidentally?
Purposely.
And OCU folks from all across the city came because they could hear him on the radio, couldn't they?
Yes.
Is that a big event?
Yes.
You undersell it. What is a bad situation, or does that fall in the bad situation category?
That's a bad situation.
Okay. In fact, a couple of OCU folks totaled out cars trying to get there. Is that right?
They did.
A couple of them got disciplined. All right. Is Justin going to lose his cool in bad situations or big events?
No, I have not seen that.
Can I speak to my client for a moment? Yes, sir.
He always need a moment. That's the older version of Michael McDonald, ain't it? Minute by minute by minute by minute, I keep holding on. I'll keep holding on. I'll keep on, minute by minute by minute by minute.
Stay with no questions. Stay.
I was wondering how long it was, and then you said 18 years in OCU, so
Yes, sir.
I guess that's how long me and you have known each other.
Correct.
And we've worked a lot together.
Correct.
Oh, so that mean he ain't gonna tag
I
him.
just have a few questions. What percentage of the people that you interact with, citizen-wise, civilians, or have armed secret weapons?
What I was is mainly plainclothes, and I wasn't in a marked unit. And I went out every day driving around looking for that kind of activity, especially I was in narcotics. And on a CAT team, I was an eyeball, so I would go out and spot for the marked units, and my percentage of what I saw was high. It was I'd say 80%, 70 to 80%.
A large number.
Large number.
We actually worked at SU together for a couple of years, right?
Correct.
Remember I was over
Yes.
there?
Oh, yes, sir.
And we worked with some pretty hard people, didn't we?
Yes, sir.
Some sort of old school people.
Very old.
So, some harsh language.
Yes.
Wasn't always polite.
Nope.
They were demanding.
Correct.
Some crazy talking.
There was.
Do you remember talking to everybody before the operation? I'm not saying go lay your hands on an MFer, but if you lay your hands on an MFer, lay your hands on an MFer. Sound like something maybe you heard before?
The rule of thumb has always been if you lay your hands on somebody, you have to lay your hands on them, they need to go to jail.
But I don't remember any sort of meeting in which it was said you have somebody on the ground, soccer kick him in the head.
No. No.
That's beyond hard.
Yes.
That'd be wrong.
Correct.
Even for those guys, those hard guys.
Yes.
I don't remember a meeting in which they said if you see excessive force, ignore it.
No, you did not.
That would never be said.
No.
I don't remember a meeting where they say if somebody's injured, don't tell medical personnel about what happened to them.
No.
That would be beyond hard.
Yes.
That'd be wrong.
Correct.
And do you believe officers should be accountable, should be held accountable for excessive force?
Correct. Yes.
Do you believe they should be held accountable if they have the opportunity and don't intervene and stop other officers?
I'm sorry. Yes.
And you've lived by that now for, you said 32 years?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm really thankful
Yeah, he let him make it.
going into these areas, because I also know you to be that kind of person. But more importantly, you're not on trial for second-degree murder. Justin Smith is.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go through Mr. Hagerman's list. So some of them are not polite. Some of them are old school. He asked you those questions, right?
Correct. Yes.
About meetings he apparently was in, and you apparently were in.
Yes.
Is Justin Smith polite?
Yes.
In fact, is Justin Smith new school or old school?
He's new school.
That's right, he's not old school, is he? And the one thing you know about Justin Smith is if he saw someone like Emmett Martin soccer kick someone in the head like you've seen on the video, Justin Smith would be the first one to report him, wouldn't he?
Yes.
Justin Smith would be the first person to stop him, wouldn't he?
Yes.
you would bet your reputation on Justin Smith would have stopped him at Martin if he could see it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else to this witness?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, sir. All right, so those are all the questions.
Well, he failed that time, but he did make sure, said he needed some medical assistance. He did do that. He is the only one, and that's why I keep saying he will probably get the less sentence of all three of them. Because, you know, I will say this in this case. I will say this since watching, in my opinion. And if you disagree, put it in the comments, please. For the most part, they didn't know what they was coming up on. Emmitt Smith lied in his deceit for Emmitt Smith and to Emmitt. He didn't know what he was coming up on. He believed what was going on, and he did render aid.
Hello, could you please state your first name and last name and spell it slowly for the court reporter in the record?
After high
First
five.
name Mark last name Wojcicki. WOJCKI. What do you do for a living? I am the missions pastor and church administrator at my church, Bartlett Hills Baptist Church.
And how long you been doing that?
Over 2.5 years.
Before that job, what did you do for a living?
For over 25 years, I was a law enforcement officer with the City of Memphis Police Department. I retired as a lieutenant in charge of basic training at the Memphis Police Academy.
Okay, I was going to ask you what your different assignments were at the Memphis Police Department. So let's start with the training academy. Was that your last assignment before retirement?
Yes, sir. I worked for about 2 years there.
And what did you train there?
I trained basic training, all of the basic police uniform patrol training for all the new recruits, in addition to defensive tactics, taking people into custody. I supervised every recruit.
Okay. And you did that for how long? You may have said it. Forgive me if you did.
2 years.
Before that, what did you do at the Memphis Police Department?
For approximately 2 years, I was in charge of the criminal apprehension team at the organized crime unit.
What years was that?
That was 2019 through January 21.
Okay. And before that, what did you do?
I was a supervisor in uniform patrol at Old Allen Alpha shift, midnight shift, for 1 year.
When did you first, do you know Justin Smith?
Justin Smith was...
Is that a yes?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
How many times you testified in court? About 1,000?
It's been a while. I've kind of forgotten a few things.
You're back in the preaching business now.
That's right. Yes, sir.
All right. When did you first meet Justin Smith?
Justin Smith was assigned to my unit in, I believe, August of 2020.
And then we are here, of course, about an arrest that occurred in January 7th of 2023. So when he came to your unit, was that Cat Team 1, Cat Team 2? What was it?
That was Cat Team 1.
And did it get its name changed at some point?
After I left, about a year or so after I left, they...
Can y'all still hear? Am I buffing?
What they call the Scorpion unit now.
Will it be safe to say that if we refer to the Cat Team 1 or Scorpion Team 1, it is in effect much the same thing?
Very similar.
Okay. And when you were in charge of Cat Team 1, was Justin Smith one of your officers?
Yes, sir.
Describe what Justin Smith's reputation was within organized crime when you were there.
Justin Smith was a highly professional, proficient, dedicated officer. He He was the kind of officer you'd want living right next door to you.
What's your personal opinion of Justin Smith?
He's an honorable, professional, dedicated man and husband of God.
Okay, so am I buffing?
Over in the CAT team and the Scorpion team, y'all dealt with very...
Am I buffing, y'all? Oh, man, I must be buffing. I don't see no movement, y'all. I think I may be buffing. Oh, okay.
dangerous customers, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
And it takes a special kind of police officer to, number one, keep themselves safe, keep the other officers safe, and keep the situation under control. Could you tell this jury about how Justin Smith fit that mold?
So, when I was in charge of the CAT team, every day we'd have some kind of training of going over how to take suspects into custody, how to do things such as search warrants where there's guns, weapons, drugs, money involved. We go over the procedures, we go over safety, and we go over how to take people safely into custody.
And how did Justin Smith do in that environment?
I observed Justin directly, and there have been several times where we've had suspects that were non-compliant that we took into custody with minimal incident, because that's what we want to do. We want to make sure we take people into custody that are supposedly, accused of crimes with the least amount of force necessary to accomplish those duties.
Is that how Justin Smith did his job?
Absolutely.
Do you have any reason to believe that Justin changed the way he was doing his job after you left?
No, sir. In fact, there were several times Justin Smith had came out to the training academy for specialized training to get better at his job.
I'd like you to share with the jury about your experience with OC spray in the eyes trying to take someone into custody with Justin Smith.
So, let's go way back to 1999. Myself and a couple of other officers, Dwight Mann and Greg McGoy, we had to take a domestic violence suspect into custody, and he was bigger than all of us, and he really didn't want to go. And I took control of him, and I tried to wrestle his hands behind his back, and Dwight Mann tried to spray the suspect, and he ended up spraying me. And that was way back when it was just OC, which is oleoresin capsaicin, not the OCCS 5.5% that they have now. That was back when they had the 1%. So this stuff is like 5.5 times stronger that they use now than they used back then. And I mean, it knocked me. It really knocked me for a loop. I could only think about keeping this guy's hands, this guy's arms secure. I couldn't figure out what else was going on.
Let me fast forward a little bit. Have you been out on operations with Justin Smith?
Absolutely.
Have you seen Justin Smith take people into custody?
I've taken people into custody.
That was what I was asking you. My actual question was, tell us about the time you took people into custody with Justin Smith.
So there was one time, it was up around Chelsea and the interstate. And we had a suspect
trying so hard to sell
a felony warrant.
To sell Justin,
And
they can't even answer the question being asked.
He ran away from us. And we took him to the ground.
Who's we?
Justin Smith, myself, Desmond Mills. I had the suspect's right hand. Justin had his left hand, and Desmond had his legs. And
We wrestled his arms to the back and took him into custody. We then took him to the hospital, make sure he wasn't injured, and took him into 201 Poppy.
What rank were you?
Lieutenant.
So as a lieutenant, you're on the ground with a suspect. Was the suspect as big as I am?
A little bit bigger. Your build is probably about 2 inches taller.
Took 3 of you?
3 of us, yes.
Okay. Now, you've got children, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Would you trust Justin Smith to arrest your children?
Absolutely.
Even if they were guilty of a violent crime?
Especially if they were guilty of a violent crime. Because I know that what Justin would do, he would operate on the facts, and he would do what he does, do his job as efficiently, as safely as possible. And if that meant using force, he would be able to explain why he used force.
Is Justin going to cover up for anybody else?
Absolutely not.
Is he going to lie?
No, that's not in his character.
Is he capable of abusing a suspect?
Capable.
Is he capable of abusing a suspect to your knowledge?
That's, from my knowledge of Justin Smith, that's not in his nature.
That's all I have, Your Honor.
No, you use the word capable. Anybody's capable.
Nothing, you know. Got it. All right, stay.
That would have been a lie. Any and everybody is capable. Yeah.
We had another witness come in here and talk about what somebody's capable of or not, but you
There we
agree
go.
with that people are capable of a lot of things.
Capable is one thing.
Exactly.
In their nature
That was a question.
is a different thing.
I think that's probably why you corrected the question, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can all be capable of things, but this is not in Justin's nature.
We can all be capable of things, and for that reason, we all disappoint each other, or can disappoint each other, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I would.
You're not perfect.
That's correct, right?
Yeah, we can disappoint each other.
And if Justin were to disappoint us, if Justin were to see excessive force and not intervene, do you believe he should be held accountable?
If he were to see it,
Yes or no?
and that's the key in my mind is to see it. I've been pepper sprayed. I know what it does to me.
If he were to see it, should he be held accountable?
Yes.
If he were to take part in it, see it, should he be held accountable?
If he were
Yes.
to have willingly taken part and knowingly taken part, then yes. But if his perception is diminished for certain things,
Now it's
if
perception. Now
his
he making excuses
goal
for him.
is to get the guy's hand behind his back, and he's struggling with somebody to get into custody, I mean, I'd be more, from myself, I would be concerned about getting the guy's hands behind his back.
Now he
I didn't
using
see
empathy.
it, or-
Oh wow.
If I've been sprayed, I might not see it. That's more than likely I wouldn't see it.
And again, and I've asked you 3 times now, and I've said each time, if he saw it, or if you want to put yourself in there, if you saw it. If you saw another officer soccer kicking somebody in the head, and you didn't intervene,
They don't want to say it,
do you
y'all.
believe that you should be held accountable?
Absolutely.
If you saw another officer throwing haymakers at somebody's head while he was defenseless, do you believe you should be held accountable?
And I did nothing about it.
Yes or no?
If you didn't even say stop. If you withheld medical information from first responders about that same person,
I love him.
the one that had been kicked and thrown haymakers, if you saw it, do you believe you should be held responsible, accountable?
If I saw it
Yes.
and I knew that it had happened
Yes.
and I said nothing about it,
Yes.
They have a hard time answering questions, y'all. Can y'all understand this?
You finished?
Yes.
They are having a hard time.
Maybe the Southern Baptist pastor coming at you, but you used the word nature. Justin
Oh my
Smith's
God.
nature. Right?
Yes.
What is Justin Smith's nature when it comes to dealing with other people?
Justin Smith's nature,
That's right.
his character, his nature, his person, who he is.
Fall in love with him, then,
The
sir.
police work to help people.
So knowing what his nature is, and having seen the videos that all of us have seen, did Justin Smith see those haymakers?
Your Honor, it just calls for absolute speculation.
It's, of course, been sustained. Knowing Justin as you know him, would he ever withhold medical treatment from someone?
Absolutely not.
That's all I have.
Anything else to this witness?
No further, Judge.
All right, thanks, sir. Those are all the questions. Okay.
I would have took him back to the video and made him watch it and stop him and say, did he see it?
Additional proof? No, Your Honor. Stengel, does the defense wish to present any additional proof?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Zilla? No, Your Honor. All right, having that been said, ladies and gentlemen, the defense, the attorneys for each of the defendants has now rested their case.
Woo!
That's going to conclude the proof of the defense case in chief for each respective defendant. State, do you anticipate presenting any rebuttal proof?
I do not, with proviso, we need to hold the proof open for introduction of the master videos and for whatever else with regard to jury view.
All right. All right, so ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is going to conclude as far as the presentation of proof for your consideration. Now, we are going to excuse you all as there's still some things that we're going to need to do. But even though you have now received the proof for your consideration, it's still not time to discuss the case or begin to think about or deliberate on the matter. The court is going to give you the law when we meet up next time. At that point, the attorneys will each be able to give their closing arguments. Once we go through those processes, the 12 jurors that are going to be selected to deliberate will be selected at that time. So until that time, it's important that you do not discuss the case, allow anybody to discuss it with you. Please leave your notepads in your chairs, and we'll go ahead and excuse you at this time.
Oh, yeah. Wow, y'all. Wow. I mean, Justin Smith, he chose wisely. Because when I tell you they were selling it, they did not want to answer. This reminded me how they were refusing to take ownership every time they were trying to attack me about, attack the black race, about Hunter and Austin against Carmelo Anthony. And I would ask them what should happen to Hunter, and they absolutely could not respond.
Exhibit 42. If you can just make sure that all parties got a chance to review the videos. If there's any videos that were supposed to be redacted, you can make sure that those are redacted. Well, there's the training videos that
We started with counsel doing that.
all right. With regard to motions, Spence, do you want to proceed with your motions at this time? Do you want to proceed with the motions when we're done?
Can't stand him.
We got 2 minutes. Counsel, please.
You mean you don't have it together, sir? You not ready? Ooh, they could not answer. Full justice, and I do mean absolutely full justice.
At this time, I would move my motion for direction verdict or motion for a verdict of acquittal based on what was stated previously.
Judge, before we go forward, may we all approach?
Oh my God. I wish they would not have done that day. Now we have to start making better choices. We have to start letting integrity guide us. We have to. We have to. We have to learn how to control our emotions. God, dog. And Haley has a history of excessive force. A history. And he seemed to have always got out of it. Or the witness or the victim was paid off.
We had previously, for all intents and purposes, formally closed, but prior to closing all proof, it obviously was not brought to the attention that any of the defendants wanted to testify, but for purposes of the record, we can go ahead and start with Mr. Perry if you want to bring your client around for the moment.
Testify.
We have everybody.
Oh, shit.
Sir, raise your hand. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
All right, have a seat, sir.
Let's go.
See, John, thank you. Please state and spell your first and last name.
Darius Bean, T-A-A.
You better make this good to Darius.
Bean, B-E-A-N.
Mr. Bean, you've been present at all of the hearings and proceedings regarding this case, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in addition to those proceedings that have been inside the courtroom, you've been in my presence, in my office, hundreds of hours probably, correct?
Yes, sir.
You've asked a number of questions and have been actively involved in your case, right?
Yes, sir.
And through that time, you found that we've discussed and we've received information. We've gone through those documents together, videos, etc. Right?
Yes, sir.
And at this time, previously, I had advised you of your constitutional rights regarding the ability to testify and your desires in that regard. Correct?
Yes, sir.
And in this case, at this time, can you articulate to the court your desire in that regard? Do you want to testify on your own behalf? Are you satisfied with the trial going forward, or the hearings going forward to the jury at this point without you having testified?
I am satisfied with going forward without me testifying.
And you realize that you have an absolute constitutional right to sit there and answer questions and be cross-examined by the state as well, if you so desire, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it is your educated and well-expressed right at this time to go forward with this case without having taken a stand in front of the jury of your own. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And do you have any reservations regarding that right? In other words, am I pressuring you, or is this on your own accord?
No, sir, this is my own accord.
And you understand those rights fully?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any sort of desire at this point for me to ask any questions to the judge to be explained to you regarding that right?
No, sir.
Sir, do you have any questions for the court about your right to testify or the right not to testify?
No, sir.
All right, sir. If that, as we go ahead and conclude proof, if that decision changes, sir, you need to make sure you let your attorney know before we close today.
Yes, sir. I got you.
Thanks, sir.
Oh, okay.
All right, Mr. Stengel, you want to bring it
I call Demetrius Haley.
So do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth and nothing but the truth to help you God? Yes, sir. All right, have a seat, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Would you state and spell your first and last name for the record, please?
Yes, sir. Demetrius Haley, D-E-M-E-T-R-I-U-S. Last name Haley, H-A-L-E-Y.
And Mr. Haley, how long have I been representing you with regard to the January 7th, 2023 arrest of Tyre Nichols?
Since 2023, January 7th, 8th. Since the beginning.
A couple of years from the very beginning, correct. And Mr. Leffler's been involved for a substantial portion of that, correct?
Yes, sir.
And have you been present for the entire trial here in state court?
Yes, sir.
10 days,
Yes, sir.
including the portion of it in East Tennessee, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you've met countless, dozens of times with me and Mr. Leffler over the past 2 years, correct?
Yes, sir.
And have we thoroughly discussed this prosecution of you during our meetings?
Yes, sir.
And have you had a chance to review the discovery?
Yes, sir.
Have you asked me and or Mr. Leffler all of the questions you have had regarding this case?
Yes, sir.
And have we discussed, amongst other things, that you have a constitutional right to testify in this case if you want to?
Yes, sir.
Have we also discussed the fact that you have a constitutional right not to testify?
Yes, sir.
And have we discussed the fact that there are pros and cons of both choices, correct?
Correct.
Potential pros and cons.
Yes, sir.
And have we discussed the fact that the decision is yours?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you discussed those pros and cons regarding the decision with me and Mr. Leffler?
Yes, I have.
Have you had enough time to discuss that matter with me and Mr. Leffler?
Yes, sir.
You're comfortable with your decision?
Yes, I have.
And what is your decision regarding testifying in this case?
My decision is to not to testify.
Do you have any hesitation in that decision at all?
No, sir.
That's all I have.
Sir, do you have any questions for the court or your attorney about your right to testify or your right not to testify?
No, sir.
All right, sir, you can step down.
He done lost some weight. And he sounds so innocent.
Come this way. Mr. Justin Smith, Your Honor.
Sir, raise your right hand. Sir, do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give today will be the truth and nothing but the truth so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, have a seat, sir.
Please state your full name for the record.
My name is Justin Smith. Justin, last name Smith.
Mr. Smith, you've been involved with me and my office throughout this criminal prosecution since the day the indictment came down on you. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
You've met with me. You've met with experts. Your family's met with me. have there been any questions that you have regarding trial strategy, trial tactics, witnesses that have gone unanswered?
No, sir.
As of today, with all the proof having been rested, was there any proof that you desired to be put on that wasn't put on?
No, sir.
And did I explain to you repeatedly your Fifth Amendment right not to take the stand and your constitutional right to testify on your own behalf? Have I gone through that with you a number of times?
Yes, sir.
Has the decision always been yours?
Yes, sir.
Did you consult with your family, pray about it, etc.?
Yes, sir.
And, well, by the way, what kind of education you got? What level of education?
Bachelor. College bachelor degree.
And based upon all that, your involvement with me, the witnesses, the experts, and having gone through all of the
Forgot about them cameras. Oops.
with me, do you wish to testify in your own defense in this case?
No, I do not.
And do you have any questions that the court may be able to answer for you or shed any light on this?
Not at this time.
That's all I have.
All right, now, Mr. Smith, so you said not at this time. So once we step down from that stand, that time is going to be over. So I just want to make sure, do you have any questions about your right to testify or right not to testify?
I apologize. No, sir, I don't. I do not.
All right, so you can step down and go back to your seat.
Thank you,
All right. Now, having momentized the defendants at this time, we're going to go ahead and take up the motions for judgment of acquittal. When we come back, we will go over the jury instructions. We'll take up those motions. Looking at the time, we're going to go ahead and adjourn at this time. We will come back. The court will send you the jury instructions via email if you all can look over those. But we will come back at 9 a.m. to go through the jury charge as well as closing arguments.
Judge, you said 9 a.m. tomorrow?
9 a.m. Monday morning.
All right. Court stand adjourned until Monday morning.
Ooh, y'all, ooh. I'm so glad they allowed us the opportunity to watch it live. I think Hagerman is cool as, I don't know, man. Hold on, let me put something else on while we, ooh! Wasn't nothing like the wizard. When I say it wasn't nothing like the wizard, Hagerman is paper. Baby, I love me some Hagerman. And he's so cool with it. Huh? And when they be trying to come back, you know, don't call it a comeback. He just turned his head around real nice, cool, calm, and collected. Cause he already know that they gonna object to, guys, when I, listen, do y'all remember Sam, you are so right, but do y'all remember, y'all remember when, who did he, yeah, straight drop, was it straight drop?
On an excessive force case,
Hold on, what the
if
fuck?
they don't see or know that the kicks occurred,
No, they can't.
say what?
No, they can't.
And you have zero information
It
about
just
what.
popped on. He baited. They ass is so smooth. I mean, when I say smooth, it was so smooth. He already know the answer, and he bait and he bait and he bait, and he just pull you in, and then he yank your ass out like a big old piece of fish. Yeah, he baited their ass. So that's what he did to the wizard, and they couldn't handle it. And when I say wizard, I do mean the wizard. Hold on, I'm finna bring the wizard back. Cause he was trying hard. You can tell the wizard, there's two things with the wizard. He is most definitely one of the good old guys. Yeah. I'm trying to do this so I can. And he is most definitely, how can I say it politically correct? Well, yeah, he's a white sheepman. Yeah, just, that's just what that is. Yeah, that's just what that is. I know. Let me cut the volume up. And when I tell you, he allowed himself to be baited.
And then I'm coming back. So
he allowed himself to be baited.
More options.
Signed,
Even more
sealed,
affordable
and
ideas
delivered.
for your
Hold on, here I
bathroom
come.
from Floor and Decor.
Hold on.
Paid to be real.
This is too funny to me. His sheet fell off. He fell off the horse. His rope.
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, the witness Haley would call Don.
And it's funny because he was being a witness. Now it would appear like, this is just my opinion, y'all, and y'all can have y'all opinion. He was not.
Are you charging
defending someone of color? He was defending the police. Oh, he can't. Look at him talking all that noise aggressively. Hell, he can barely walk. So he wasn't defending who he was hired to.
If you would state and spell your name for the record, please.
He wasn't really. He was because he was hired, right? Hold on. He was defending him. Barely could walk. Walking a hop along kid. Yeah. He was not necessary. He was defending him because he was hired to do so. One. But that aggression, entitlement. Oh my God. That entitlement to not say it the way he was asked, but to use the word that he want to use because he don't think that it is as bad sounding as saying excessive force. So he's going to use unnecessary and deem them not the same. So before they had to have a powwow, he wasn't going to defend it. I mean, he wasn't going to say it that way, and he was going to defend by any means necessary. I remember if you was here last night, and I played, or was it last night or earlier today? I don't remember. Martin. No, that was earlier today. Martin, when he gave up his confession and told the truth, and he said that he knew that there was a code, he was defending the code. He was defending the code more than he was I'm saying him as a person. He was trying to defend who he was hired to give the assessment on. He was standing firm about for the code. So he was more loyal to the code than the actual policy. He was okay with, bending the rules and being overly aggressive. That's obvious. He done beat somebody, done something, in my opinion, buff out. And then the number one, but what he was representing the most was that sheet. Make no mistake about it. that sheet slid the off. It slid off. The horse legs, they buckled. Yeah, I'm telling you, the rope frizzled. The tree branch broke. Yeah, that's the root of this man. But let's go. That's the wizard.
STARTCAMERON.
And Mr. Cameron, would you tell the jury briefly your
Hey, Charlotte.
history in law enforcement?
I was not there, but what I saw was 6 men.
1966.
Absolutely.
I stayed with Berkeley.
And baby, when I tell you he came up with all type of excuses.
1972, I transferred to the Daily Rapid Transit District.
Why he talked to this guy?
Rapid Transit District.
There, he said they would bring in the sheets, bringing in. Yeah, because he kept saying he didn't care how many it was. He wasn't secure, and in his mind, the excessive force.
For 52 years until I retired.
The excessive force was necessary because he was not secure. And let me tell you what he missed, though. What he would not say. He would not acknowledge that at that point he was on the ground, not secured on purpose. Because y'all standing over him, doing what you're doing. Ain't nobody, y'all kicking and swinging, stomping, beating. Y'all not trying to secure him. Oh, wizard with the sheet that slid off didn't acknowledge that. He didn't acknowledge that. Because I would have asked him, Hagerman, ooh, I wish you'd have tagged AunTeaFee and say, I got somebody who want to ask my next question via Zoom. I'd have said, oh, Wiz, let me ask you something. I know you can't hear good. I know you can't see good sometimes. I know you have a hard time walking. So slow your roll a little more before I chase you down. No, I'm just playing. Because I bet you I can fetch you, Wiz. But let me ask you something. When you saw your boy, yeah, we ain't going to even acknowledge the kicks and the stumps right now. But how many of them, while they was doing what they doing, you know, how many of them who took the initiative while they was kicking and stomping, beating with the club, tried to handcuff him? Yeah. I mean, since you're an expert, shouldn't at that point, at least one or two of them at the point that he just laying there, trying to get up, trying to defend himself by, oh, just sit me up, get me up. Y'all try. You reckon them big old ass men couldn't put the handcuffs on in? Yeah. Oh, but he still wasn't secure. So the deadly force. But let's listen. Oh yeah. He gonna be the reason why.
Consulting do?
They ass is
a consulting firm for
gonna get rammed further in the head and they gonna get. Let's listen.
Law enforcement agencies, private individuals.
Consulting in what areas?
I consult in the area of police training, police tactics.
He talked to this shit.
I analyze equipment for policing agents to see if they're going to use that particular equipment. I write reports regarding my recommendations.
You mentioned you write training policies.
Wasn't complying,
for various
but
police
he was
agencies.
laying on the ground. Right, LP.
I'm sorry.
In California mostly.
Are you familiar with the acronym POST?
Yes, sir, I am.
Tell the jury what POST is.
Charlotte, this is bad.
A Commission for Peace Officer Standards and Training.
And what is its role in law enforcement?
POST basically sets standards It regulates policing agencies. It makes training recommendations. It supplies instructors, supplies materials regarding police practices.
And to whom does it provide this?
To policing agencies.
Have you had a role with Post?
Yes, sir, I have.
And if you would describe that role?
I'm considered a subject matter expert for Post in the areas of training, weapons defense, use of impact weapons, handling persons with disability, crowd control. So Post will bring together a group of subject matter experts and will either create new policies, will review current policies and make sure that they're up to date, or will check off the policy and say, yes, everything is correct in this policy. And then it goes to the Attorney General's office to have the Attorney General approve basically what we've written, or what we've said is all right.
And is Post a national organization?
It's a national organization, and all policing agencies have some type of a post-regulatory commission. They're not all called Post, but most that I'm familiar with are called Post, or commissions on peace officer standards.
Are you familiar with Tennessee's Post Commission?
Yes, sir, I am.
And how did you become familiar with that?
I basically read the Post Commission's policies and procedures, and what they recommended in Tennessee.
Are they consistent with other Post Commission standards?
Yes, they're pretty much all the same. I'm sure there's some differences as far as local things, but most of them are the same because of federal law.
You mentioned you've been involved in training.
Yes, sir.
If you would tell the jury your involvement with training law enforcement.
I train officers in basically use of force, arrest control techniques, how to search people, how to handcuff people, how to disarm people, how to generally control people, how to take people to the ground, how to control them when they're on the ground, how to use their firearms, how to use their impact weapons. Anything basically that's physical that a law enforcement officer would do.
And for
So that's why he didn't want to. Okay.
Do it for agencies throughout California, Hawaii,
Aloha,
Nevada, Arizona, Colorado, Idaho, New Jersey, New York, Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Do you have any certificates regarding your teaching or training law enforcement?
Yes, sir. I'm a basic, intermediate, and advanced post certificate. I have a supervisory post certificate. I have a vocational teaching credential. I have a bachelor's of science degree. I am certified by the Federal Bureau of Investigation as a firearms instructor, a SWAT instructor, chemical agents instructor, certified by California Post as a instructor trainer in weapons defense, arrest control tactics, firearms, crowd control. And it's regular instructor for basically the same areas, use of impact weapons, use of firearms, arrest tactics, and persons with disabilities.
You want to know what I'm most excited about this summer? No more high-waisted bikinis or one pieces. Sono Bello, Target.
You
and persons with disabilities.
put out
Have
the
you
target on
previously testified in court?
Yes, sir, I have.
And have you previously
Who put out the
been
target,
qualified
or
as an expert to give
who
opinion testimony
feel like that was the target?
regarding
Was
police
Tyre.
standards, police training and the
I feel like
use of
Marcus was retarded. I feel like there was a bag on Marcus, and he looked like Marcus, and that was the whole reason for the unnecessary pull him over.
Testify as an expert.
He has admitted, hell, he was dismayed or what have you, because he had, so what was the whole purpose? What was the reason for pulling him over? What made you choose him if he had not, or you wasn't supposed to follow him?
In Michigan, I was asked to give opinions about.
And then when I saw him, and then when I started looking at Marcus, then it started making sense to me.
The judge said
because it all started with Emmett.
Itself, so I didn't need to testify.
And there's a bag on Marcus. So then the way that Haley
police standards and the proper use
was moving, I felt like they were employed or on the payroll for CMG. That's how I feel. And I've always felt like that. If that answers your question. So Haley, not Haley.
You recognize that document?
Emmett initiated.
Yes, I did.
And what is it?
It's my resume.
And on that archive video I showed you yesterday, earlier today, he admitted that he had no reason to pull him over. He had not broken any law.
Yes, I have.
Have you been qualified to testify as an expert in these areas in state courts?
Yes, sir, I have.
You would list the states
and the way Haley was moving, he dirty on the force.
What states?
Spreading the picture around. He thought he
California.
I feel, my opinion, it feels to me like he was sending that picture out because he thought that he was going to collect on that hit.
Idaho. Philadelphia.
Oh, they don't look familiar to. Well, go through some of the pictures when he on the skateboard when Marcus had those braids and put them long dreads against each other and look at them.
Yes, sir, I have.
Have you been qualified
at night
opinion testimony in federal court for the Western District of Tennessee?
Oh, you saying you didn't notice?
And other
you didn't see
courts.
the resemblance between them
at this point
until you showed the. Yeah, you see them when they got them dreads on. Later, please. At night, and you trying to collect a bounty on the cool? Yeah, come on, man.
We have no objection. We also have any objection with regard to Mr. Stingle's tenure in as an expert.
There was no reason. And at that time, a lot of what we know now about the Dolph case, we didn't know.
As an expert qualified to give opinion.
We didn't know the whole
police training, police standards, and the
PRE
force.
Had a hit on it. It looked too much like Marcus for me, baby. At nighttime too. And then tried to say he reached for my gun, or he.
Are you familiar with the Memphis Police Department policies and procedures?
Yes, sir, I am.
How?
And he did none of that.
Policies and procedures, they're in accordance with
I get it now.
Post Commission, which, like I mentioned, is pretty much in parallel with all the other post commissions or regulatory commissions for policing agencies throughout the United States.
And at that time, if they'd have got Marcus, because they was under the impression that Marcus was going to testify.
I, as Demetrius Haley's lawyer, asked you to do with respect to this case.
So the wizard was there for Haley.
Training. Look at body cam footage. Read statements. Listen to audios of statements. Formulate opinions as to whether his actions were in accordance with the policies and procedures of the Memphis Police Department. If they were in in accordance with the training he received. If they met reasonable standard of care for a police officer.
And have you formed those opinions?
Yes, sir, I am.
Are you familiar with Demetrius Haley's training to become a Memphis police officer?
Yes, I am.
How?
I went through his entire training file. I read most of the outlines of the training programs he went to. I watched a training video of pepper spray training that he went through.
Your Honor, at this point I am going to play a clip from a video that has been shared with the state.
Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Go in. Press play. Come on. What's your name? Police Crew Division Taylor. How old are you? 27, sir. Kids? One girl. One little girl. One little girl. Where you from? Detroit, Michigan, sir. Detroit, we don't think you're a Lions fan? No, sir. Why not? Why? You watch football? Yes, sir. Cowboys. Cowboys. Sorry to hear that. Yes, sir.
So that means Haley was supposed to be able to do that and still been able to move and adjust and try to put some handcuffs
Yes,
on.
sir, it is.
And was that part of Mr. Haley's training at the Memphis Police Department Academy?
Yes, sir, it was.
What is the purpose of that training exercise?
Just to expose the officers to pepper spray and the effects of pepper sprays and how it can affect them, debilitate them, and prevent them from performing normal police tasks. In this particular case, he was able to cover one eye, and shut the other eye, so the pepper spray didn't go directly into his eyes. It more or less dropped down. After he was sprayed, he was given specific directions of things to do. Whereas in a real environment, there'd be nobody telling you what to do. And you'd have both eyes affected as opposed to just one eye. And basically, that's the training that police officers go through. The type of training that they do is usually just the one eye. It's never the two eyes that I know.
CLP, in regards to
post-approved training,
Carmelo, stuff like this undercover, slightly hid, sometimes
in preparing
in a major way, hiding it. It's why I won't budge on them people about Carmelo and Anthony.
Everything that you reviewed in order to form your opinion.
Because they can know the guidelines.
I reviewed
and they'll justify it for them and not for us. But in this regards, he's trying to justify it.
I listened to audios and statements.
For Haley
I reviewed the training records of Officer Haley. I reviewed the force continuum for Memphis Police Department. I reviewed the post standards. I think that's it in a nutshell.
Did you review any sworn testimony?
I did review sworn testimony of Officer Handel and Officer Martin.
You did say the day is yesterday, right? Yes. Rematch at the bowling lanes? Thought you never asked.
Officer Handel and Officer Martin.
Pass to the witness what's been marked as Exhibit 15, which is the Memphis Police Department use of force continuum.
And if y'all don't understand that this right here, this wizardry, is what him right there is making America great again. That's America. This is what the executive order is for them to be able to justify using force.
That's in case you need to refer to it as I ask questions.
Unnecessary force.
What type of traffic stop?
But not calling it excessive force.
It's a high risk stop.
Why was it high risk?
Mr. Nichols failed to yield to the officer's lights. Was traveling at a high rate of speed. He changed lanes without signaling. He ran through a red light, and basically he didn't stop, and then all of a sudden he stopped. And that's unusual when you're in a pursuit of someone, and that's a red flag. Why did all of a sudden the person decide to stop, as opposed to continue to run?
Now what the wizard is not saying, or maybe they didn't tell him, is that the car that Martin was in did not have the blue lights on top of the hood, on top of the roof of the car. The blue lights was inside the car. Huh? So it wasn't that he could just see them. He was in an undercover, unmarked car with the black hoodie, black mask, all that type of stuff on. He's not describing that, but let's go.
When making a high-risk traffic
it wasn't
stop,
just, it sure was not.
What is an officer's proper law enforcement objective?
To contact the violator, to control the violator, get the individual handcuffed, searched, and taken into custody.
We're going to play a portion of Officer Hemphill's body-worn camera and then ask you some questions.
Do y'all see any flashing lights following him? Do y'all see flashing lights? Y'all hear? Y'all hear any of that? Okay. I need to be on somebody's legal team or something. Shit. And this wizard refused to admit it. Okay, so I see blue lights, but it's inside the car. I just saw, so I saw the other guy lights flash. He said, I didn't do anything. He said, all right. All of that aggression. Pause. Hold on. Pause. So LP, I mean, since you made me go there. So, okay, you know what we've just been talking about. What did he do to deserve all of that? Running up on him, knowing, okay, so let's just say he didn't put his blinker on. What that aggression, get out the car, get out, get the fuck out the car, out of that, right there, because this is the first time. And he was like, I didn't do nothing. He trying to understand what is all of this. See, I would have thought, I'm just gonna be honest, because y'all know I cover Memphis, and I've been covering Memphis since DOLPH, and I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of crime. I've seen a lot of carjackings. I've seen a lot of robberies. I would have assumed that it was fake, or I was really being carjacked. I was being robbed. But probably when the other car came and cut me off, is when I would have probably took notice, cause whoever sandwiched him, their lights was red. Right? But whoever was behind him was undercover. So he didn't have red lights on top of his car. Does that make sense? So, but at this point right here, 2 cars, stop it. Get out the car, get out the motherfucker, get your, yanking him out. For what? Because I didn't put a blinker on? No. So do you understand my logic? What did he do even in the beginning? Yeah. This was at a time where they was trying to get Mark, because I'm telling you, shit. Okay. He said, all right, okay. He said, okay for what? He said, I'm on the ground. Now they're getting extremely aggressive. I can't show it, y'all. Now they're getting extremely aggressive, so now he don't know what the fuck is going on. What is this shit? What? You tasing me for what? What is this? I mean, logically, I would be thinking, what in the hell is this? Yeah. So before they had to chase him, that initial
2938.
What? I probably would have been the same way. What is this? Yeah. And this wizard. And then we found out that he wasn't even supposed to pursue him. None of this, he wasn't supposed to call him, none of that. For somebody who was, for the speed or whatever he lied and said he did.
Would you describe Haley's conduct? The video is stopped at 20:26:47. That was Hill's.
That's why he ran. I would have too.
Would you describe, first of all,
especially in Memphis,
in that clip?
Yes, sir, I did.
Would you describe his conduct in that clip?
They treated him like he was a dangerous. Absolutely.
And his use of force in relationship to the Memphis Police Department.
Hell, they got people who had a murder,
when he first contacted
trafficking,
Nichols,
all of that. They don't handle like that.
Persuasion, or what's referred to sometimes as verbal judo. He used harsh language, which isn't prohibited, and usually for dealing with
now he used harsh language. Oh, wow.
A harsh individual, in other words, they've already fled from the officers, kind of emphasize things by sometimes using profanity. He went hands-on, which would be classified basically as
wizard
techniques. Pulled him out of the vehicle, placed him in the A-frame of the vehicle, which is trained to do by the Memphis Police Department to control the individual and prevent him from, or attempt to prevent him from running. He attempted to use control techniques, to handcuff and subsequently search Mr. Nichols, but Mr. Nichols turned on him. At that point, they took him to the ground.
He still never swung at the cop or none of that.
Controlling techniques to get him handcuffed. Mr. Nichols was not going for being handcuffed. Sometime in the process, Officer Haley used his pepper spray, and it appeared to have no effect on Mr. Nichols, but it got into Officer Haley's eyes, I believe some of the other officers' eyes. Mr. Nichols refused to get on his stomach, though he said I was on my stomach,
he was trying to get where people could see what was going on.
He then took off and ran.
You said you went hands-on and used soft hands to get him out of the car.
Yes, sir.
Soft hands. Did y'all see soft hands?
Was that, in your opinion, proper at that time?
Yes, there was.
Well, what's rough hands?
He failed to yield originally. The car hadn't been searched.
Searched for what? Searched for what?
Isolate him from his own vehicle, get him out of the vehicle.
Search.
And get him controlled as quickly as you can.
Searched.
Did anything significant occur that caused the officers to take Mr. Nichols to the ground?
Yes, sir, it did.
What was that?
Officer Martin said, paraphrase something to be effective, he's got a hold of my gun or he's got my gun. And at that point, all bets are off. I mean, you take him to the ground as quickly as you can, and you try and control him as quickly as you can.
Based off of that video?
Whether he's trying to take the officer's gun, or if he has a gun of his own, because again, he hasn't been searched.
How do you know Martin said something along the lines of let go my gun or he's touched my gun?
The statement that I read, testimony I read, Officer Handhill said that he heard it, and I believe Officer Martin said
like
that he
police
said
officers don't lie. Hey, Burns,
For all of
Burns.
life's greatest memories,
Well, I guess
our
they
cars are
supposed to
meant
take
get
the
us
word of the
there.
officers.
That means we depend on our cars more than.
Even though there's video cam footage that show that never happened, he never reached for it, and he's supposed to be an expert. He is really supposed to be able to say it never happened, but he wasn't hired on the state side. He was hired on the defense.
Haley used verbal judo with that stuff?
Yes, sir.
What is verbal judo?
That's a method of attempting to solicit someone's cooperation verbally. So,
that's bum.
You're not doing what I ask you to do. And for example, if I say, will you step over to the curb? And the person refuses to do that. I'll say, well, sir, is there anything I can say or do to
Sir.
have you step over to the curb? So I'm trying to basically negotiate with you. But
we ain't heard no
if that works,
negotiating.
that's fine. But if it doesn't work, then you have to escalate. And again, sometimes
When did they say, sir, get out the car? Sir.
under certain circumstances, you'll use harsh language.
Sir, can you?
Profane.
Vulgarity.
Yes, sir.
Did y'all hear them use sir? Before they start talking
Judo,
ignorant?
soft hands.
Yes, sir.
Why was that appropriate?
Well, again,
Did y'all hear sir?
Mr. Nichols wasn't getting out of the car. When Officer Haley reached in to escort her from the car, he pulled away from him. And at that point,
Did they give him an opportunity to get out?
get him out of the car, get him into a position where you can immediately search them and handcuff them, or handcuff them and search them, depending on which order you're going. And that's all trained techniques and all appropriate.
And then the pepper spray, the OC spray.
Yes, sir.
Why was that appropriate?
You right, bums.
Well, actually, on the force continuum, pepper spray goes before hard hand techniques, and sometimes soft hand techniques. So it was, according to their training, it was also appropriate in the situation to try and get him controlled, because the object is to get him controlled, to get him handcuffed. Obviously, the pepper spray didn't work on Mr. Nichols in this case, but it did work on the other officers.
Grand Wizard Pawpaw line. Yeah, he lying.
While Mr. Nichols was on the ground, there were commands given.
Yes, sir.
How did Mr. Nichols react to the commands?
He said he was doing what they asked him to do, get on his stomach. But in fact, it was on his side, would not get on his stomach. And he kept saying, I'm on my stomach, I'm on my stomach. He wasn't on his stomach. He was up on his side. Which means, again, he hadn't been searched. He can access a weapon along his waistband. And in front of the waistband where firearms are most often carried by suspects. Consequently, he had access to that. He had the ability to use his hands to strike the officers. So the officers were telling him to do something, or ordering him to do something. And he was saying he was doing it, but he wasn't. So he wasn't following the commands.
You said they in respect to the commands. Who was giving commands?
I believe all the officers, Officer Cantel, Officer Haley, and Officer Martin.
Is that ideal?
It's not necessarily ideal. What you'd like to do is have one officer give commands, but that's in a different circumstance. If I'm telling somebody to do something, I'm the officer that's going to handcuff the person, then I'll simply tell him to do it. In this situation where you have fighting resisting suspect, you wouldn't want other officers giving commands. In other words, I wouldn't want to say, lay on your stomach, and another officer say, no, lay on your back, and somebody else say, put your hands over your head, and somebody else say, put your hands behind your back. But in this case, all three officers were saying exactly the same thing. Get on your stomach, give up your hands. Stop resisting, get on your stomach, give up your hands. So if different officers were giving different commands, it could confuse the suspect, and that could be why he wasn't doing it. But in this case, all the officers were giving almost exactly the same command.
In that clip, in your opinion, was Haley's use of force and conduct consistent with his training?
Yes, sir.
Consistent with Memphis Police Department policy and procedure?
Yes, sir, it was.
I'm going to continue playing Hemphill's body cam, picking up at 20:26:47 for roughly 8 minutes.
Oh, I would. Oh, yeah. I just don't. Yeah.
What are the pros and cons? Alright, your car's looking funny. shit. My glasses when he fight me. They gonna get a song right now, Ross. For me, yeah. What's up? Alright, ready? Which way you rolling? That way. Okay, I gotta find my glasses and get this damn taser downloaded. Did you also read that I employed my taser?
Switch to the farmer's dog in 2025 and listen to what the happiest version of your dog can sound like.
Thin male black, blue jeans, and a plaid jacket.
What's that for? Why is he playing with a yo-yo? What is that? Is that a yo-yo? Trying to retract the taser. What is he doing? Y'all please hit the like button.
Martin and all them over there chasing. Shit, he's freaking too, but luckily you can get my eyes just on my eyebrow. Oh, let's stomp his ass.
I hope they stomp his ass. So he know that they already used to doing it. I hope they stomp it. So he already know what their normal procedure is. Stomping his ass. Because they haven't even started that yet. Right? So if they haven't started that, for that to come out of his mouth, he already know that's their pattern. Now he put, y'all see that? Hold on, y'all see that? Hold on, did you catch that? Hold on, did y'all catch that? Cause ain't nobody said nothing about that. Did anybody just catch that? LP, I know you're gonna call me a criminal analyst, baby. Did anybody just catch what I just saw? Ain't nobody brought it up. Nah, he put in it. What did he put in his pocket? I didn't see that. I'm assuming. No, let me back that up, cause I ain't see him put nothing in his pocket. But hold on, maybe I saw it wrong. Let me sit up and watch it with my good eye. Girl, stop playing. Oh. No.
In this clip.
Martin and all them over there chasing. Shit, he's freaking too, but luckily you can get my eyes just on my eyebrow.
That's what you are. I didn't look at it like that. I couldn't do nothing but laugh when you said it.
I hope they stop us at spin call for other cars because it's hard to chase them.
I didn't see him put nothing in his pocket. Did y'all catch that? Yeah, I didn't see him put nothing in his pocket. But let me tell you what I did see, right? I'm gonna tell you what I did see. I see that he didn't have that. I see that he didn't have on that police gear. He didn't have on his police gear. So he was out there looking like a thug. He was out there looking like the hoodie carjacker, right? He was looking like what they look like in them streets, right? Now he putting on his police gear. Cause I was wondering, you know, when they was over there kicking and stomping, I remember them saying that they had on the hoodies, the mask and stuff. And I was saying, but when they was over there, to myself, I was saying they didn't have that on. They had on police gear. So why are they saying that? Huh? But in the car, he had on a mask and a hoodie, all black. Yeah, he's the one who did the lying. He's the one who made the initial stop. Emmett. The tall, dark-skinned guy. Yeah, he's the one that pleaded guilty and went ahead and admitted that what we saw earlier today when I went back in the archives and played that video of his confession, that he did not have a lawful reason to even follow him, to even pursue him in the car. He didn't know. That was him. That's him. So initially, it looked like a black scat. You know, what's them cars they be spinning around in the circle, you know, leaving black tire prints and shit when they be doing them drive-bys and all that in the black, what they call them, scats. Yeah, but I think his was a Charger. All black. He had on a hoodie and a ski mask. And he didn't put sirens on top of the car. Yeah. So now they don't went on a did this, did that. And now he gearing up. And so by the time they get over there with all the stomping and kicking, he looked like he in uniform. It says police, huh? Easy. It's especially with the crime in Memphis. Okay. Shit. That's the Charger right there. Where's the police? Look at the top. Did you see the top of the? Do you see any police lights on top of that car? But the expert didn't mention none of that, did he? Where are the police lights? But the sky. Oh, but there's always a ram in the bush, baby. They looked up there and saw that sky. Yeah, let's go.
Luckily, didn't get my eyes just on my eyebrow. Oh, let's stomp his ass. I hope they stomp his ass. Smith was calling for other cars because he's a hard to chase him.
Hey, Scott. You see any lights on there?
Could we use your house to trial our 24-hour bathroom upgrade system?
They done make these shorter versions of the video.
In this clip, which ends at 20:34:44. What
commercials.
Significant?
I'd be glad with my own comeback, baby.
About Haley's action has occurred.
He's still debilitated by the pepper spray, and obviously he's trying to flush his eyes out with the water. He's trying to hold his eye open so the air can get in there, and it's basically debilitating him. He took his vest off because it's easier. It doesn't hit you much from moving, so it's easier for him to be able to tip his head back and to use his hands and hold his eye open and have the other officer flush it out. And at one point, he puts his vest back on and responds because he hears a call coming over the radio at Bear Creek and Castlegate, that the officers basically something to the effect that the suspect's still resisting or still fighting, and we need more officers. And That's one of the first things you're trained as a police officer is if another officer calls for help or calls for additional units, that if at all possible, you respond as quickly as you can.
Is that reaction good policing?
Responding, yes, sir.
Trained?
Yes, sir.
Consistent with MPD policy?
Yes, sir, it is.
What, based on your review, what knowledge did Haley have when he arrived at Castlegate and Fairport?
Well, number one, he knew about the interaction they had on the traffic stop.
Stop playing. I lifted you up last night when we was leaving.
Didn't want to be handcuffed. He hadn't been searched. He ran from the officers. Pepper spray didn't appear to have any effect on it. He now knew from the radio transmission that Mr. Nichols had been contacted by other officers, that the other officers were having a difficult time taking him into custody, that they were calling for other officers. And again, by his training, the Memphis policies, he needed to respond to that location.
You mentioned earlier when Martin said, "Let go my gun," you said all bets are off.
Right.
Tell the jury what you meant by all bets are off.
In other words, when somebody goes for an officer's gun, it becomes a deadly force situation. It's a deadly force situation, obviously, for the officers. It's a deadly force situation where the officers may have to use deadly force. If the suspect gets the officer's gun and or if the suspect has his own gun. So it changes all bets. It's not routine. It's not going by the use of force continuum to the soft hands, to the hard hands, to the pepper spray. It immediately jumps to a deadly force situation.
In your review of this entire incident, was deadly force ever used by Demetrius Haley?
No, sir, it was not.
The lies you tell.
I'm gonna pass a document to Do you recognize that, Mr. Cameron?
Yes, sir, I do.
And what is that?
It's Mr. Nichols' left arm with one handcuff on it, and an officer attempting to get that hand under control.
Hey, Frida.
Particularly because the handcuff is on the wrist, and the handcuff on the wrist basically becomes a weapon. If the individual is able to break free from the officer's grip, he can swing that very effectively and severely injure an officer.
Is that a picture you recognize as one of the scenes of the body-worn cameras you reviewed?
Yes, sir, it is.
That's the deputy marked the next number exhibit. No objection.
We'll show the screenshot of Mr. Nichols' wrist, exhibit 41.
For the record, that is a screenshot from Officer Mills's body-worn camera, which has been shown, will be admitted into evidence, and the timestamp is 2034. I believe it's 55 on the print, the seconds I cut off. upon your...
Okay, hold on, y'all. Let's we have a visitor who has acknowledged this is her first time, y'all. A welcome, Miss Frida. Hi, how you doing? A tea sippers. A welcome Frida. Yeah, to the Tea Palace. We sip real good tea here, baby. We sip tea and facts. We don't troll. We don't do none of that. We about the facts. And we's funny. Yeah, we have some little comedy in there too. But welcome to the Tea Palace, precious.
Review, Mr. Cameron, in relationship to Haley's arrival at Castlegate and Bear Creek, when was that handcuff put on the left wrist?
I believe it was put on the left wrist about a minute before Officer Haley arrived, if I'm not mistaken.
Whether it was a minute or not, before, during, or after Haley's arrival?
Before his arrival.
And did the existence of the handcuff on, we now know to be Mr. Nichols' left wrist, have any impact on your opinion of Haley's conduct at Castlegate and Bear Creek?
Yes, certainly. Mr. Nichols continuing to resist. Officer Haley can see that when he arrives on the scene, that the one wrist is handcuffed, but the other hand isn't handcuffed. And at that point, Mr. Nichols has his arm basically tucked underneath his body or locked into his body position. And it could be that he's simply resisting not being handcuffed or being handcuffed. But it's also consistent with someone reaching for the waistband. And like I mentioned before, Mr. Nichols had not been searched at that time. So they don't know whether he has a worst case scenario, a gun, less case scenario, a knife in the waistband. So though you could say, yeah, he's resisting because he doesn't want to get handcuffed, but could he be not wanting to get handcuffed, and could he be wanting to access a weapon? And that's what an officer has to think.
I'm going to play a brief clip from the Sky Cop video.
Oh, that old Sky Cop. Ooh, that the Sky Cop. Baby, thank God for the Sky Cop.
So this is terzepatide.
Ooh, no, we can't watch it like that. Thank God for the Sky Cop.
Start over.
The eye in the
this
sky.
is a clip from the Sky Cop video at Castlegate and Bear Creek. I think it's officially titled 6727 Castlegate. This clip begins at 20:36:02.
Oh, wow. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. It may kick off one more time. Hold on. Hold on.
Start over. This is a clip from the Sky Cop video at Castlegate and Bear Creek. I think it's officially titled 6727 Castlegate. This clip begins.
Okay. I think it's enough to, it's repeating itself again. Yo, if I've been on here for a long period of time like this, that means it's out of juice. Yeah, it went from 100 to -0, and I didn't realize it Well, hold on. Let's go. So I'm gonna have to do it like this time. I don't want us to see. Where the lights at? I don't see but one red light. And that's the brake lights. Where they lights at, y'all?
That clip ends at 20.
Where they lights at?
30. Mr. Cameron, was that clip a portion of the SkyCop video you reviewed in connection with your work in this case?
Yes, sir, it is.
And in that clip, did you see Mr. Haley arrive?
Yes, sir, I did.
Would you
Nowhere to be
describe his
seen.
conduct,
Okay.
in that clip?
I thought I was tripping.
Well, he arrives at the scene. You can see that Mr. Nichols is not controlled. There's a handcuff on one wrist. Like I mentioned before, the arm is tucked under the body. Officer Haley comes up, makes a quick assessment of what's occurring. He takes the time to look to see where he's going to apply the kick. He applies the kick to the upper arm muscle area, which they're trained to do because basically it causes the arm to relax or come up behind the back, or where the officers want the arm to be, which is in a handcuffed position. So he takes the time basically to aim and to kick the area that he wants to kick, and that's in association with the training.
Y'all, I need 20 likes.
To use a hard hand technique.
Please.
Use it to an area that will have the individual relax that area or react to the kick and be able to be handcuffed.
Now, Grandpa.
Yes, sir.
Hard hands technique according to the Memphis Police Department policy and procedure.
Yes, sir.
Authorized.
Yes, sir.
On that clip, how many kicks did we see?
From Officer Haley, just one.
How many kicks in total?
Two.
Okay. And which one was Haley's?
Haley's was the first.
What happened after the kick?
Mr. Nichols was able to be handcuffed
How quickly?
almost immediately.
Did he, before he kicked him, did he attempt to handcuff him before he kicked him? Grandpa Wizard? No, he did not. He assessed and he didn't attempt. He just
I'm
kicked.
going to play this clip one more time and stop it at Mr. Haley's kick so that we can get the time stamp into the record. Tell me if I've stopped it at the correct
He pulls up, assess, and kicks.
This is my hair 6 hours
He
after
did
work
not
day.
attempt.
This is my hair on
He
the
did not
day. I
attempt
tried
first
every oily hair
to
product.
handcuff. Get sprayed in his eye. Did pop out. That wizard know. He know. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. What? Yeah, hold on. Did he just notice that? Did he just notice that?
kick so that we can get the time stamp into the record?
He wasn't looking with his good eye.
Correct time.
Is he looking up? Hold on. Is he looking up? Is he now noticing the camera? The one where you can see police. Is he noticing the camera right about now? I'm trying to go back to when he... Hold on, I don't want to go. Hold on, y'all.
Did Mr. Haley just kick?
Yes, sir, he did.
And the timestamp is...
Hold on, I'm trying to see this. Okay, no, he's not looking. Unless that camera's this way, up there. Because he started walking that way. That's why I was trying to see. Yeah, I think he's noticing that camera up there.
Did Mr. Haley just kick?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir, he did.
And the timestamp is 20:36:19.
Yes, sir.
And they think that's a good idea for all of them to be there attacking him.
Going to
And they wasn't mad.
one more.
They was following policy.
Start over and put the timestamp on. This is from Officer Blake's body worn cam, which has been played.
Officer Blake.
Which begins at 20:36:37. And it ends at 20:36:47. Mr. Cameron, is that a clip from some of the video you reviewed in connection with coming up with your opinion?
Yes, sir, it is.
And what is significant
It's too late.
in that clip?
Officer Haley's following his training and his policy and procedures from the Memphis Police Department, and that he's calling for medical aid or an ambulance, giving the brief information that he had that the individual had been pepper sprayed, the individual had been tasered.
I'm going to have a moment with my punch, Your Honor.
Okay, that's it for that, y'all. That's it. What y'all think? What do y'all think about our brothers? Who paid for your criminal defense? You got they paid for the wizard to come up there on that stand and lie for you, sir. Who paid for your criminal defense? Huh? Whoever paid for his criminal defense, huh? Got long money to get a wizard. Yeah, he wasn't supposed to let that sheep fall off, but it did before it was, especially when Hagerman got on his head. Got on that. Ooh, baby, he ate Hagerman. Shout out to Hagerman, baby, because he ate that old gizzard up. Spit him out. Until you taste like old funky liver. You're bland. You old gizzard. Yeah. Who paying for your defense attorney, sir? Yeah, you done beat up folk in the when you was a correctional officer a couple of times. You was leaking information, confidential information to prisoners in jail. And then you beat up some. Yeah. And then when they filed a lawsuit against you, somebody paid the defendant off, and he didn't further pursue it. He dropped it. Yeah. Who paying for baby? Cause they got a wizard up there. He was trying to help you, but that pressure got your ass exposed. Okay, y'all, so what y'all think about our people before we go? Yeah, we gonna wait for the closing arguments on Monday. But baby, was that tea not good today? Was it good or not? We rebuke, cancel, and delete every scheme of the devil in the holy name of Jesus. Amen. Yes. Yes, indeed. He was totally corrupt to the core. They probably threatened that inmate. Yeah, you see, they would have to pay that person off for them to drop that. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Hagerman 8. Did he eat? Yeah. They need every bit of justice, all aspects. And listen, baby, I will be trying to get Obart on perjury. I'll be like, Hagerman, why we not hitting him with perjury? Because he lied. But then he played dumb and couldn't hear, couldn't see, he don't have good ears. So hell, he ain't no expert. He don't have good ears. He don't have good eyes. He put a number of stunts with his slow walking ass. Yeah. Yeah, senile. Yeah, with his senile ass. That was the wizard. You in trouble. You are not getting out of it this time. That's why they would not let you out on bond. Yeah. Yeah. You special. He tried it, yeah. Yeah. Okay, good people. I'll see y'all at 6 o'clock. And I still didn't go get my nails done. Y'all have a good one. Can y'all please hit the like button? Please hit the like button. I holla. Bye, y'all.